Rudimentary creatures of blood and flesh, you touch my mind, fumbling in ignorance, incapable of understanding. Organic life is nothing but a genetic mutation, an accident. Your lives are measured in years and decades. You wither and die. We are eternal. The pinnacle of evolution and existence. Before us, you are nothing. Your extinction is inevitable. We are the end of everything. The pattern has repeated itself more times than you can fathom. Organic civilizations rise, evolve, advance, and at the apex of their glory, they are extinguished. The Protheans were not the first. They did not create the Citadel. They did not forge the mass relays. They merely found them, the legacy of my kind. We have no beginning. We have no end. We are infinite. Millions of years after your civilization has been eradicated and forgotten, we will endure. Hello, how is everybody doing? I hope everybody is doing well. My name is Andraste, and today I'm going to be talking about a beloved game that has stolen the heart of many RPG nerds. A game that I personally left on the back burner for way too long. A game where space meets magic. A game where the government doesn't give a shit about you. A game where you, the player, can not only befriend sexy aliens, but also fuck them too. Yes, today I am talking about the one and the only Mass Effect. Growing up as a massive Dragon Age fan, the series has always been on the outskirts of the fandom. You could never escape being a BioWare fan without somebody asking you, well, have you ever played Mass Effect? In the past, the two fanatical groups always had a somewhat playful rivalry between the two series, with even Easter eggs hinting that they coexisted in the same universe. However, with the disappointment of Veilguard's lack of carry-on choices from throughout the franchise, and an ending that scraps any choices players had made in the previous titles, it made an Origins fan, that specific fan being myself,
I'm having a great time, guys. This is a great fucking Friday night.
Wonder, why is Mass Effect heralded to be one of the best BioWare games? Not even just one of the best BioWare releases, but arguably the best sci-fi RPG in existence. Recently, I decided to answer those questions the best any gamer could. I watched somebody play it on YouTube.
We have technology.
I mean, I played the game myself. In all seriousness, I made the decision to buy the Legendary Edition that included the first 3 along with the DLCs and stream my experience. With all honesty, I was a wee bit hesitant. I've never been much of an FPS gamer, especially in a third-person perspective. At one point, I even accidentally used the term SMG for a gun that wasn't even one that looked like one, along with incorrectly calling it MSG. If that doesn't paint a clear picture, I don't know what else will. Going from blasting fireballs to throwing grenades made me really nervous, and even though I had managed to waste almost every grenade I had on an innocent NPC, I began to understand the appeal for the first game almost immediately. I was never the type of person to argue that Dragon Age was a better series than Mass Effect, even in my angry, rebellious Tumblr days. But I do want to state one thing clearly before I get into my dissection of the first game. If you're expecting me to completely tear apart the Dragon Age franchise after discovering my love for the Mass Effect universe, you've come to the completely wrong place. This is not a video you'll see Tasha's screaming face used as clickbait, although some of the points I will use to compare the first Mass Effect game to Dragon Age Origins will be my own opinion. Those are opinions that are backed up with knowledge of not only in-game lore, but also with basic knowledge of what was going on behind the scenes at the time of the writing these specific games. If there's information I do get incorrect, opinions you may view differently, or just any fun facts about any of the franchises, please feel free to politely comment below. With all that being said, let's do this thing. The overall gameplay mechanics are pretty simple. You can use certain abilities depending on which class you choose, along with the companions that are currently in your party. The UI made things hard to understand at first, especially with literal rocket launchers being shot in your face the first 5 minutes of the game. I was not ready for that, can I just say? But this didn't stop me or my trigger happy shepherd from tactical maneuvering and coming up with strategies to continue on. I like the overall style of playing as an adept to a great degree. As I unlocked new abilities, I found large amounts of joy pairing them with another adept you acquire later in the game and spamming them with the fly like an eagle ability, especially if they were big and scary. You can add a giant Krogan about to pummel you with their gun as a new fear of mine. I love Rex. I would never want to get in a fist fight with him. I'm just gonna say that. Playing on normal gave me the option to get funky with my party selection, along with still being able to challenge in some of the harder, more task-heavy fights. Decryption was an electric version of lockpicking and reminded me a lot of Frogger. It was nice having an easy out decryption, especially towards the end when I was mostly selling weapons or turning them into Omnigel, so I never really got tired of it. Now I feel like this wouldn't be a proper Mass Effect review, especially over the first game, without mentioning the Mako missions. Even though I can properly understand how a lot of the community does not enjoy that style of questing, I found driving the Mako around fun as hell. Like, oh my goodness, I don't know why. I think it mostly had to do with the little to no fall damage. I liked that there was little to no fall damage and found exploring the planets beautiful. Even though a lot of the planets were more barren than not, knowing this game is originally from 2007 made me appreciate what they had done, along with the amount of planets they had done with it. The overall atmosphere and color schemes they chose for the nearly deserted space rocks had me in awe in almost every drop. Even though the Thresher Maws scared the gravy out of me, I still overall enjoyed the Mako missions, even towards the end of my journey. Hearing that they were an original annoyance, I felt like it was only fair that I mention this, and kind of reminding everybody that I am playing the Legendary Edition, and there are going to be key differences between bugs and just overall performance issues. Speaking of the Remaster Edition, one thing that was new compared to the originals was something a few veterans warned me about: the bugs. And no, I'm not talking about the Rachni. The remaster came along with some annoying bugs, such as light reflections being wonky, inappropriate idle animation timing, companions refusing to fight and or listen to commands, and NPCs thinking they're Michael Jackson. Even though some caused smaller issues and annoyances throughout my playthrough, most of the bugs that I experienced were enjoyable and personal in ways that newer video games can't replicate. Anyway, the thrift shop that I went, it made me think of the remake of Oblivion in some similarities, even if the original game didn't have all these issues. The overall gameplay is something that I could not only just enjoy as a first-time player of the series, but along with not being the most gun-friendly gamer. Even though I personally prefer the option to pause and have an overhead view to choose what abilities me and my companions will use next, Mass Effect still gave me an option to pause when I needed a minute to think of my next ability or decide to move a party member, even if they didn't always want to listen. It made me appreciate fast-paced fights in a way other games have never been able to do, and I am beyond galvanized to see how it improves in the next game. Now that we've gotten our vegetables out of the way, let's enjoy the main course, the story. The story. I cannot tell you how much I enjoyed the plot to this game. Every fictional game or series has some form of information overload when you first drop into a new reality, but Mass Effect did it in a way that felt not only tangible, but also digestible. Not only was I suckered immediately into wanting to know every little piece of information regarding, well, everything, BioWare did it in a way that was extremely easy to understand. The information over fictional cultures and long past wars was explained by a variety of well thought out NPCs that were remarkably vast, showcasing how each individual, whether human or alien, was different from one another. The drastic change of views and opinions made each NPC that was interactable with seem like their own person with their own morality and values. Despite being the same race of extraterrestrial, one alien may view the humans as a pest to society, while another will say the opposite, a worthy race that's just trying to make a name for themselves. It also helps showcase how others may view an independent event as a positive or negative for their culture or overall well-being of the fictional universe, and it's done in a way that makes you understand how their thought process could have led them to the point they are at, whether it's good or bad. The way BioWare handles not only individuals, but groups of people, both human and not, is done in a way that not only mirrors real life in a realistic aspect, but also allowed me to escape into the universe that they had created. One of the biggest accomplishments that BioWare has with this game is the way that it parallels issues from the real world into the one that they've made. The game is almost 20 years old, and a lot of the issues that you face as Shepard are things that are currently hot topics, such as oppressive governments and shady corporations entangled with them, the long-term effects of war and land distribution, racism, xenophobia, and the rapid increase of technological advancement for both war-related and everyday life. The way I was able to correlate some of these problems that I faced in the game as Shepard with real-life events was astonishing. The twists and turns this game made me feel, oh my goodness. I felt like I was playing Roller Coaster Tycoon, and I mean that in the best way possible.
Turn it off, 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 turn it off!
1. Roller Coaster Tycoon is an amazing game, so I'm comparing gold to gold, and 2. There are twists that I never saw coming. Being a fan of previous BioWare installments, I was aware of bigger plot-relevant issues. An example being, the Reapers were the main enemy, and they were coming back. But how? Why? Where? The biggest shock to me was finding out that the Protheans weren't the highly intelligent race everyone had thought them to be. Were they still incredibly acute, especially with their final choices of helping future civilizations find an answer on how to beat the Reapers? Yes. However, discovering that a majority of everyone's understanding of the world they had created around them to be a facade was not only dumbfounding, it was genius. Finding out that the Citadel was actually created by the main bad guy as one massive trap by making it seem like the perfect location for a spatial capital is one of the best twists I have ever seen. With a lot of well-known Western entertainment companies such as AAA game studios coming out with lackluster and obvious foreshadowing a toddler could figure out, it was fun being so mind-boggled. With the game being almost 2 decades old, and what knowledge I did know from my chronically online Tumblr days, I thought I was pretty well aware with what was to come, or that I could weigh the possibilities and guess correctly along the way. Although some things did come from this, thank you to the public college system for English literary analysis. The bigger puzzle pieces were left unsolved until the perfect moment of peak realization. With all the praise of the story, one of the smaller complaints I had was the lack of interactions with the gilded bad guy, Saren. I thought his story was a little bit linear, but knowing that he had a play in Space Daddy not getting the promotion I had received as Spectre made me think that there'd be more to his character. The story writing in this game not only made me laugh the hardest I have in years, it made me reconnect with fictional characters and appreciate their writing since I played Baldur's Gate 3.
I know what's wrong with it. Ain't got no gas in it.
The constant moral condemning choices that you have to make along with how your companions respond to them can be life-threatening. Mass Effect may be an early 2000s game, but it makes you think about as a player how your choices will interact with the world. The smallest choices, being heard over the radio as you've completed quests, or making dumbass mistakes while talking to the press, I got my eye on you, or seeing the after effects of a social dialogue choice. Damn, Saren really did that. Quests being capable of being completed in several different matters and getting different options was fun to do with my chat. Hearing all the possible ways that I could complete a quest made me realize how much this game has replayability, and it's something that I may consider in the future. Now that we've finished up the main meal of the video, it's time that we get to dessert, the companions. Overall, the first Mass Effect has a lot of quality NPCs, ranging from one-off side gigs to important main influences. The thing that BioWare is mostly known for is making companions that you could not only become friends with, but even potential lovers. I can't say that I didn't enjoy talking to my companions and knowing their backstory, but once you notice the formula of asking questions to your companions and receiving the repetitive lines over and over again, they don't really add as much unless you're out doing side quests and they comment randomly on things. There are only 3 choices for romances, 2 for each gender. I was really disappointed in one of them.
And then we have Caden over here is like, oh, wow, that twist is very queen. Wow, that statue over there, very big.
Jokes aside, Caden's fine. He's fine. He's okay. He's fine. He's a cool guy. I'm sure he gives really cool high fives. I don't know if it's the same with Ashley, and I know it's just early 2000 game mechanics, but the way that they push Caden on you and just kind of make him fumble over himself like a little puppy, I'm like, you're a 30-year-old man. Please. It's not because I love him like that. I care about him as a person, and I still want him to live. No.
I will remember you.
You're embarrassing me. Overall, the way that BioWare pushes Caden on you, I don't know if it's the same with Ashley. I just particularly didn't like, and I understand that they were just trying to get a point across that you could romance somebody. It just wasn't to my liking. Overall, I still really cared about each and one of them. There are several interesting humans in the game, but I found Caden to be a little bit boring and Ashley an unnecessary asshole at times.
I'm concerned about the aliens, Vicarian and Rex.
Learning about Ashley's backstory made me at least understand and even sympathize a little with her assholery, even though I did shut her down every single time she said something that was definitely xenophobic. But Caden's constant schoolboy Freudian slips made me just uncomfortable at times. It's kind of like if you took River Ward from Cyberpunk and put him from 2077 into 2007. One thing that I did like about the companions, however, was the way that the writers let you explore the world history through asking your companions about themselves. Being able to discover through the characters on your team about how they were personally affected by world alternating events adds a certain layer that other RPGs have a hard time getting down. It creates a lot of personal relation to the world that Mass Effect is, along with seeing firsthand how the places they grew up with affected their goals and current personality. A prime example is when Rex tries to take over the mission to stop the genophage, a biological weapon that make a lot of Krogan pregnancies end in either miscarriages or stillbirths. The legitimate fear I had of picking the wrong answer was severe. The way that the writers made his feelings justified and understandable gave his character a newer level of depth that confidently changed how I viewed his character. But I wish I had seen more depth or discovered more facts about them by seeing them react more with one another. This is the one thing that I feel like Dragon Age Origins did have over the originator of the Mass Effect series. I could sit here and talk about the things that I like about Dragon Age over Mass Effect 1, and the things that I like about Mass Effect 1 over Dragon Age Origins, but I think I'm gonna save that for another video. This one's getting a wee bit long. Thank you so much for watching. If you watched the entirety of the video, I really do appreciate. I'm gonna be focusing on more opinionated bases about video games that I personally love, as I'm kind of going through a blast of the past. If you'd like to follow, I would also appreciate it. Have a good day, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! I love his outfit so much. It makes me giggle, because he's a Barbie girl in a Barbie world.